All right, we'll try this again for take number 3, ladies and gentlemen. Those of you in Miss White's class in my homeroom definitely have seen this kind of going a little bit crazy. But good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about some parts of our homework for tonight, specifically question number 7. But really, any questions that you're going to have should probably be answered in this video. So we're going to go ahead and go into what we've done in the classroom as well as what we are going to be doing on tonight's homework. Question 7, if you look at it, actually looks a lot different than we have done in the classroom. I know that there's a glare here, but I'm going to try my best not to or to show that glare and explain what's in that glare anyway. So let's look at what question 7 is actually asking us to do. Question 7, a horse named Northern Dancer won the Kentucky Derby with a time of exactly 2 minutes. At this constant rate, how long would it take Northern Dancer to run the Belmont Stakes? Okay, one thing that I kind of stumbled over in the classroom because it was the end of the day, let's be real, and because I was trying to get you guys out of here safely, was over here it actually tells us how long the Kentucky Derby is and how long the Belmont Stakes is. Kentucky Derby is 1 1/4 miles, which as a decimal is 1.25. So I'm actually going to put that there. If you want bonus points to show me that you watched that video, go ahead and put 1.25 right here next to that. Okay? And Belmont Stakes is 1 1/2, or as a decimal, that would be 1.5. Okay? Now, one thing that we did not talk about, or that we talked about in class that's not actually present here, is actually a ratio table. So I'm going to actually go ahead and show you this using what's on question 7 first. I'm sorry for the glare that's there. I will try to explain a little bit better what's here so that you guys can see it. But in the actual thing, I'm going to show you this on the textbook, and then I'm going to show you how the ratio table actually looks there. So let's look right here at the ratio table here. So it says at this constant rate, constant meaning stays the same, how long would it take Northern Dancer to run the Belmont Stakes? At the ratio table here, it's already set you up with 1.25 miles over 2 minutes. Okay? What that would look like on the ratio table right here would be miles and minutes. Okay? It's telling you that you have 1.25 over 2. Now, if you know anything about ratios, we have to get to what's called the unit rate. It even says that the constant rate, solve the rate problems, use the unit rate right here, literally tells you what to do, okay? So use the unit rate. How do you go from 2 to 1, ladies and gentlemen? Hopefully you realize that you would divide 2 by 2 to get to 1. Since these arrows are facing the same way, you also would divide this by 2. Okay? Right here, it's literally telling you, and I know it's hard for you to see, but if you look on your page, you'll be able to see it. We have 2 minutes divided by 2, and then 1.25 divided by 2. Okay? Now, when you solve this problem, you can solve it because 1.25 is a decimal, but you're not dividing it by a decimal. So 1.25 divided by 2. 2 goes into 1 0 times. 2 goes into 12 6 times. I put that 0 there because there's a decimal here. 6 times 2 is 12. 12 minus 12 is 0. Bring down this 5. 2 goes into 5 2 times. 2 times 2 is 4. 5 minus 4 is 1. Some of you would say we have to put a decimal here, but since there's already a decimal, you just put the 0. Bring this down. 2 goes into 10 5 times. 5 times 2 is 10. 10 minus 10, 0. So the first rate that you have here is your unit rate, which is 0.625. Okay? 0.625. So if you look in here, it's literally telling you, and I know that there's a glare here, what to divide this by. It's saying divide this by 2. Divide this by 2. Okay? When you divided 1.25 miles times 2, you get 0.625, which literally means that Northern Dancer was able to run 0.625 miles in 1 minute. So for 1 minute, they were able to go 0.625 miles there. That's what you're literally showing. Okay? Now, what's going to be different about the second part of this question, ladies and gentlemen, and I apologize, I know that this is a little bit messy, so I'm going to clean up really quickly. Just kind of clean this up so you guys can see it. miles, minutes again. So we have 1.25 is what we started with, and then 2, 1, and then 0.625. Okay? Again, you don't have to actually do this because it's telling you what to do here, but I'm going to plug this in and show you how the math is actually working. Because this will help you. What I'm doing here will help you for 7 or for 8, for 9, for 10, and for 11 because they do not have these same frames. So what you're going to have to do is find the unit rate first and then go in and find out what's there. Here, they're giving you the frames. It's kind of an annoying thing because honestly, I feel like you'd probably rather do it this way, but it's all right. The frames help us understand what we have to do. So in this frame right here, it's saying find an equivalent rate to the unit rate, which is 0.625 times 2.4. So what they're telling you to do is they're telling you to multiply this by 2.4, and hopefully you know because the word equivalence here that you're also going to multiply this times 2.4, which would get you 2.4 minutes. But how did we get from 0.625 to 2.4? Well, if you look in this problem right here, it's asking us how long would it take Northern Dancer to run the Belmont Stakes. We look over here, the Belmont Stakes are ran in 1.5 miles or 1.5. We don't know the minutes, but we know the miles for the Belmont Stakes. So if we were to actually look at this, we would go 1.5 up there and figure out how many minutes it would take down here. So how do we figure that out? Well, we literally go from here backwards to here, okay? It's a larger number going to a smaller number. We're going to divide that. Here, we're then going to multiply by whatever this was when we divided. If we look at this problem now, we would have 1.5 divided by 0.625. And hopefully, you're a pretty astute person there that says, I can't divide by an actual decimal, Mr. Gammons. So what I need to do is create this turn this into a whole number. To do that, that's going to take this over 3 decimal places. This number becomes 625, while this number over here goes over 3 decimal places. There's only 1 that goes to here, so we actually need to fill in the rest of those decimal places with 0. So we have 1,500 divided by 625, okay, or 625. Those of you that are confused about that, remember, we cannot divide by a decimal, so we have to turn that decimal into a whole number by moving that decimal place over until this number becomes a whole number. Whatever we did to that, we must also do it over here. Since there was only 1 decimal place that we could move over, we have to fill in the other 2 spots with zeros. So now we have the problem 1,500 divided by 625. Now, I don't know about you. I don't know my multiples of 625 off the top of my head. So I'm going to go ahead and add them together. 625 times 1 is 625. 625 times 2. Oh, that looks like 1,350 times 3, and I'll stop at times 5 because that just is a nice round number to go to. Looks like 1,975 times 4. Now, if there are any parents watching and wondering, what is he doing? How is this even a thing? If you don't know your multiples of a number, like say you don't know what 625 times like 9 is off the top of your head, you probably can figure it out. But we write down our multiples so that we are able to easily see how many times we can get closer to here. Your child should be able to explain that to you because they should be able to say, we're trying to get as close as we can to this number without going over when we are dividing. I realize that we're already over that number, but it's going to help us exponentially when we actually go to solve this problem, okay? So I'm going to add another 625 here. I stop at 5 because it's just a little bit nicer for us. And I get 3225, okay? I ask myself, how close can I get from 625 to 1? Can't get there. 0. To 5, can't be there. To 150, nope. So 1,500. So I look down here, And I say that 1350 is the closest I can get without going over, which is times 2. I bring that 2 all the way over here. 1350. I go ahead and subtract that. And I get 150 remaining there. Okay? I'm going to bring a 0 there. Bring that 0 down. And I'm going to look. And I'm going to say, how many times can 625 go into 1500 again? Gammon's made a mistake somewhere. And I'm going to have to figure out where that mistake is. Because that's going to get me 2 again, so 2.2, which is not the same thing as 2.4. Yeesh. Okay. All right, you guys ever make a mistake? Mr. Gammon's made a mistake here. So we're going to go back into these repeated addition things, okay? When you realize that you made a mistake and you see that your mistake is made and you realize it doesn't make any sense, go back and fix it. Here, Gammon's messed up. And it's not 1350, it was actually 1250, which would make this 1875, which would then make this 2500. I should have realized that when it started not working out, which would have made this then 3125 or 3125. So again, I apologize. I made those mistakes there, but I learned from them. We're good to go. That's going to change this up right here, ladies and gentlemen. So let's revert back, kind of rewind here. We'll actually start this problem over with the correct math that's there. So let's rewind here. Go back to our repeated addition, late day. Make sure that you have the correct multiples of 625. I should have double-checked that. That's all right. Teachers make mistakes too. So let's go here to 1,500 now divided by 625. Again, you're going to say that goes into it 2 times, but instead of 1350, it's, of course, 1250, which when you subtract that out, you would get 25 or 250. Decimal point here. Bring that 0 down, 2,500. Beautiful, because 625 times 4 is 2,500. So times 4 minus 2,500. Holy cow. Okay, so when you do that, you would find that it would take 2.4 minutes to travel 1.5 miles. So how long would it take Northern Dancer to run the Belmont Stakes? It would take Northern Dancer 2.4 minutes to run the Belmont Stakes. But what's nice about this one, ladies and gentlemen, is it literally gives you the answers right there. It tells you exactly what to do. Divide this by 2, multiply this times 2.4. It even tells you what the answer is going to be by the time that you get it. Looking at what we did here, minus my mistake. I made a mistake. It's fine. Minus my mistake, my repeated addition here. When you go over this on this side there, you are able to then divide out 625 and 1,500. So 1,500 divided by 625. I got that 625 from that, or I got 625 by making 0.625 into a whole number, moving that decimal place over 3 times. Look, it's very jumbled in all this. I get it, okay? I made some mistakes, but realistically, we're going to be able to check on these. So fix the mistakes if you make them, okay? Let's look at question 8 and question 9 really quickly. Since I have them up on the board, I'm not going to answer them, but I'm going to show you how to do them. The cyclist rides at a constant rate of 24 miles per hour. How long would it take the cyclist to ride 156 miles? Miles. 2 hours. It literally gives you the unit rate, ladies and gentlemen. 24 miles per 1 hour. How long would it take you to ride 156? I'm not going to show you how to do that, but you should probably figure out how many times 24 goes into 156. Number 9, the price of an 8-minute phone call is $1.20. What is the price of a 17-minute phone call? You need to do 2 steps. You need to set up the unit rate. You need to figure out how much 1 minute costs, and then figure out how much 17 minutes costs. You're already given how much 8 minutes cost. So go from 8 to 1. Figure out how you need to do that. Okay? 10 and 11 don't have out in front of me, but they're very similar to that. If you have any questions, send them to me on Canvas. I probably won't get to them tonight, but I will gladly answer them in class tomorrow. Okay? Sorry that I made this mistake. I know somebody's going to call me out on it. Made the mistake of doing the repeated addition incorrectly. It happens. Long day. It happens to you guys too. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Get your homework finished. You only have 5 problems. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Realistically, now you only have 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay? Have a great night, guys. Finish this up. We'll see you tomorrow.